On today's episode of the Warns Way podcast, I'm joined by 205 AFL games, 109 goals, one of the toughest players I know, equal with Bakes. I couldn't pick one. 2007 All-Australian, won a flag in 2008, a very good punter, an even better poker player, and a very good friend. Welcome to the podcast, Campbell Browndog Brown.
Thanks, Shako. You were pretty accurate with all of that, apart from the very good poker player.
No, you're a very handy poker player. You've been probably, when was the first game of poker you think you ever played?
Oh, probably through the Hashems.
Yep.
So it wouldn't have been probably mid-2000s.
Okay, so
just after Joe won the World Series and we
Yeah.
met Tony and we started to play some home games at the Hawks.
Yeah.
And a lot of the boys really got involved. It was great team bonding, actually.
Yeah.
And then obviously, we got into plenty of games and some bad beats, and then through your old man, obviously this new era of poker, and met Bakes and some of the St Kilda boys, and great times.
So you're a bit of a veteran then. That would be around 20 years of being a poker player if you've been playing since the mid-2000s.
Yeah, and I've had 20 losing years on the poker my poker field, Jacko. So I'm not turning professional anytime soon, mate. But I have been watching all your podcasts, and they're going brilliantly, mate. So well done.
Thank you, Browndog. Yeah, well, I know at my house where we've been having the last few home games, I have a bit of a leaderboard with the Polaroids.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to take a photo of when you're in the middle, holding up your two cards with the chips and the cash. I can take a photo.
I'd like that.
And get you on the leaderboard.
That'd be nice, but I think we'll be waiting a little bit longer.
No, well, that's okay. We've got plenty of time to play more home games, but the first thing I'd love to talk to you about, Browndog, was growing up and your childhood and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, grew up in Perth in a football family. My old man, bit of a legend of West Australian footy, so he never pushed me into sport. I loved all sports, swimming and cricket, and footy. I played a bit of water polo. Was never a great runner because I was asthmatic and don't have a big tank. But from as young as I can remember, all I want to do is play AFL footy.
Yeah.
So I remember when you're in year 3 and 4 and school teachers ask what you want to do when you grow up.
Yeah.
And some people say, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a policeman, a firefighter. I always just used to say, I want to play AFL footy, and I was obsessed with Richmond. So I grew up in Perth, moved to Melbourne at 9. The old man got a job at the Richmond Footy Club in 93. The plan was to stay in Melbourne for 2 years. They were pretty ordinary at the time. He came over, sacked the board, tried to get them commercially viable.
Yeah.
And at the end of sort of the 2 years, we said we love it here in Melbourne. I settled into school in year 4 and 5 and made some friends. And so we stayed in 95, which was our 3rd year. And they got to the end of 95 and basically the family said, we want to stay in Melbourne, and we never moved back to Perth.
Wow. And have you found, since when you moved to Melbourne, obviously Perth is one of the footy states, was it very similar with how much in Perth focus was footy, and then coming to Melbourne, footy?
Yeah,
Did you
very
feel
much
that?
so. I mean, Perth's a 2-team town.
Yeah.
And, like they're obsessed with football, but it's West Coast Eagles and Dockers, right?
Yeah.
Here it's a bit more holistic, but MCG's, not just the home of cricket, but we call it the Coliseum of football.
Yeah.
And, I remember going there, most weekends to watch Richmond play. One of my most endearing memories is going there when Teddy Whitten did that famous lap of honour, Victoria versus South Australia. And he's partially blind, and he's sitting there with his son Ted Jr. and he's doing the stick it right up him, and I was 12 years of age.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's one of my favourite footy memories. To the point where, fast forward, many, many years, but Victoria played the All-Stars, and I had the choice whether to play for the All-Stars, being a West Australian, or Victoria, which is where I sort of grew up. I chose to play for the Big V, and when I told the old man, he was absolutely disgusted.
Was he?
Imagine it was sacrilege sort of putting on the Big V instead of the West Australian state jumper.
Would have your dad played in many of the state origins?
Yeah, he captained them. He was a coach.
Wow.
He's sort of who's the Ted Whitten of West Australian footy.
Yeah.
So he was a chairman of selectors. Like he loves
just
state
loves it.
footy. But it was it was footy obsessed growing up. I was a really good junior, sort of 10, 11, 12, 13. Won, best in the leagues as under 12 and that. But then I was a late maturer. When like kids start to grow
They're
at
a bit
15,
bigger
16, 17.
Yeah.
I was a late developer, so I didn't get the hair under the arms and quite skinny and short and everything through that period of time. So I went from being a good junior to like pretty ordinary in those really important developmental stages when the recruiters start to sort of take a keen eye on players and if they'll play AFL. So I was a million miles off.
So do you think that's when like the dog in you started to come out because you were always a little bit smaller, not as big as everybody else? That's where you had to prove yourself to be a bit tougher, be a bit stronger than everybody else?
Yeah, I think so. Like that part of my game always came quite naturally, but it doesn't take skill. And I always remember, like my old man used to say to me, make sure you're the best player or trying the hardest when your team loses, because when your team wins, everyone plays well, everyone kicks a few goals and everything.
Yeah.
But what stands out to supporters and people and yourself is if you just keep having 100% crack, even if you're down by 10 goals with 5 minutes left, you're still chasing, tackling, spoiling. And that sort of stuck with me a little bit because, it doesn't take talent to do the team thing consistently. And I sort of, that was my one wood in the end because I wasn't a great kick or decision maker. Like I had some key attributes, leg speed and whatnot. But I reckon the one thing that kept me in the side every week and I didn't get dropped and made me have the career I had was just my ability to just keep having a crack, basically.
Yeah, and it's very similar to what Dad used to explain with his team, and his mindset was effort is free. Like everyone can put in as much effort as you want, but you're only getting what you put out. And like what you said, it's fine when everybody's winning, but it's those moments when you're losing that the fans remember, and even yourself when you're walking off the oval. If you can walk off knowing there's nothing else left that you could have given and you gave 120%, well, it doesn't matter about the result, and that's what people remember.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And like, how frustrating is it to see players that have got so much talent that 1 week will get 30 touches and be best on ground, and then next 2 weeks, they're tagged out of the game, or you can see that they're not quite there mentally. Yeah, it's very frustrating. So effort is free, and I think people sort of resonate a little bit more with the guys that might not have as much talent, but just they have an absolute crack every single time.
So why do you think now that the players are a little bit more inconsistent with their effort? And is it because they are too fit or too lean? There's too much running. It is a running game.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Like I think to be successful in any sport, not just physical sports like footy, like I think you do need to have a little bit of mongrel in you, and
that's what Dad used to say. Dad used to say, sorry to cut you off, but we'd be on the poker table, and sometimes I'm a bit too nice. If I've beaten somebody on the poker table 2 or 3 hands in a row, I would, wouldn't re-raise them or make them a goal in. And Dad's like, Jacko, you've just got to have that C word in you. You've just got to get that in you.
I didn't want to say that on the podcast, but let's call it mongrel.
Mongrel.
I think you're right. Like my motto was like, be a really good person for the rest of the week, but for that 2-3 hour period that you're playing footy or cricket or poker or you're in the office, whatever is your passion, like be as strong as you possibly can. Like, you're competing against someone, and I don't care if they walk off the field and think I'm a prick, right? As long as when you see him, out down the street or whatever, they don't
shake
think that.
hands, have
they don't
beers.
Think that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good bloke, but geez, on the field, he's a different person.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of how I used to play. My old man always used to say, don't get angry, get even.
Yeah.
which sort of got me into a bit of trouble over the years because I was rubbed out for 29 weeks.
Yeah, so is that I think Toby Green's the most now, but before him, would have you and Bakes been the most?
Bake says 28, so I knocked
28?
him off by one.
Yeah.
And 29 weeks is a lot. Like, that's a season.
That's a season. And finals.
And some of that was preventable. I think I didn't need to do some things, but I think also just my mindset of like pushing the envelope, pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, I'm prepared to play a certain way to help
Better the team.
to help win, and to be honest, help me get picked every week because I wasn't Luke Hodge, Buddy Franklin, Sam Mitchell, Cyril Rioli. I didn't have those attributes, so I needed to bring like manic effort, pressure, and every now and then, I'd be a bit overzealous, but I was like, well, that's how I play. So if you want to take the good, you have to take the bad a little bit as well, which meant every now and then I got rubbed out. But I wouldn't change it, to be honest. Like I loved my journey. I loved like the fact that I had to work really, really hard to just get drafted, and some of that was going off and getting a private running coach. So one of my weaknesses was a lack of speed. So for 18 months, I hired a guy called Bowden Babicek, and I'd go down to the park on every Tuesday night after school.
Yeah.
And for an hour,
just run.
We'd just hop and bound and skip and like work on running technique and everything. And my speed improved significantly. But it's also the effort to go out there and I'm an asthmatic, so I did Buteyko to learn how to breathe properly. Like, there are all these little things that I looked to improve year to year, which I had to get where I was through hard work, and nothing came naturally or easy to me.
Yeah, that's awesome, Browndog. And so many people nowadays, they're so focused on stats, numbers, how many disposals. They're obsessed with all of that. But one thing that I am against is people remember moments. And if you're somebody that you might not perform well statistically, but people in 3, 4, 5 years after you've retired, even 10 or 20 years later, they'll remember your moments. They don't care if you got a game with 11 touches or 12 touches or 5 goals. Yeah. They remember the feeling they had when they were watching you. So if you're watching somebody who's always putting the head over the ball, which is what you did every single time, always competing, always putting your right foot forward, always tackling, bettering the team, people will remember that and appreciate that.
Yeah, I think so. And certainly coaches, when they're reviewing games, they look for effort. Supporters, when they leave venues, like, I was never the best on ground. I never got 3 Brownlow votes, but I'd like to think that one of the reasons I never got dropped in my whole career.
You were one of the most important players on the team.
Well, just had a crack, like, and we went through some tough times at Hawthorn. Like, missed the finals in 02 and 03 when I first got there. We finished second last, and our coach got sacked in 04. We only won 5 games in 05, Clarko's first year. Like, we were a pretty shit side there for a few years. Yeah. And when you're not winning games, supporters still rock up, and they know you're not going to win. They look for positives, and we saw that with when
Melbourne and St Kilda.
And you like to see young players playing well, and they would have gone to the ground and said, "Oh, gee, Jared Ruffhead could be a good player." And we've got a midfielder, Jordan Lewis. He was tough, and Buddy Franklin kicked a couple of great goals. You leave and I just want him to leave and say, well, he had a crack. He put his head over the footy, he tackled, and that was sort of what I hung my hat on a little bit.
Yeah, well, you definitely did that, Browndog, so well done. Was there plays when you were playing that just made you feel a lot more confident, stronger, faster? They were also putting in the same amount of effort you were?
Oh, well, Croft's one of my favourites. I loved him, and like he carried that club for many years when we were pretty ordinary as the face of it and the captain, and he set the tone in terms of work rate and professionalism when I first got there. Sam Mitchell was probably a close second in terms of professionalism. He was a manic trainer. In fact, he used to just follow Croft around like a shadow because he wanted to get better at running and everything. Hodge's leadership and fearlessness and ability to play in the big games were huge. And every time you ran out there and you had Buddy playing, even if you were down 3, 4, 5 goals,
you knew you were still
there was a part of you that were like, okay, we're still in this because the big fella could just explode at any moment. So it was good. I'm glad I played in ordinary era because then it made
You'd appreciate when you were
the
winning.
success.
yeah.
Yeah. And there's been some guys like Jonathan Brown won 3 flags in his first 4 years.
Yeah.
So he wins a flag at 18, 19, 20, right?
That's a bit like Daniel Rioli as well at Richmond. And
yeah.
now,
And then they play another 10 or 15 years and they never reach
get
those
that
heights again. And you just wonder whether they fully appreciated just how hard it was.
Yeah.
I certainly got a full appreciation because I only won 1 flag, 08.
Yeah.
But geez, we've been through a tough 5 or 6 years to get there.
Yeah.
And then obviously fell away a little bit dramatically post that. So winning one, I would have loved a couple more, but
Yeah.
a lot of really good players didn't get that opportunity.
And people will remember that. Like you've told me before, one of the best feelings ever is just going out and meeting the fans that were at that 2008 Premiership or Hawthorn supporters and just watching every single game going, thank you so much for winning a flag. Because people, that is so, like I'm a St Kilda fan. Dad, in his entire life, never got to see a flag, saw a few losing grand finals. So I hope in my lifetime I'll be able to experience it. But they're not easy to do, to win a flag.
No, they're not. They're very difficult. And like Fremantle are going through, they've never won one in their inception. Obviously,
Gold Coast, GWS.
The Gold Coast. The Doggies got that taste in 2016. And you look at the crowd, there's grown men and women and grandmas crying because that's how much it means to people in this town and in this country. So, Hawthorn supporters are pretty lucky. Like, they've seen a flag every decade since the 60s. So 60s, 70s, 80s, 91, 2008, and then again for the three-peat. So,
is there any other teams that have done that as well? Maybe Collingwood?
Yeah, I'm not sure if every decade. Like, Hawthorn haven't won the most premierships, but
that's a very good
probably
stat.
been the most consistent.
Yeah. And
so I think, like, 91 to 2008 is 17 years.
Yeah.
So that's probably the longest Hawthorn's ever gone. So for the kids and that were emotional, they hadn't had to wait as long as the poor St Kilda supporters. But you'll get there. I think
fingers crossed.
They've done really well. You're on the right track. Lenny Hayes is back there.
Yeah.
Bassett's doing an unbelievable job as president. I thought you traded brilliantly through the off season, and I like Rossi Lyon too.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of mongrel in him.
He does, and he was one of the boys as well. We went out to Albury a few weeks ago with him.
It was a good trip.
It was a great trip. But yes, fingers crossed for the St Kilda. And with Buddy, how, when you were playing with him, did you ever possibly think this player is going to kick 1,000 goals?
Nah, you can't possibly think that. But we knew he was special, especially early days. And it was more just around his athletic ability. Like, I'd never seen someone his size, 6'6", be able to move across the ground so effortlessly. And he had a combination of great endurance and speed, which is pretty rare, So he very quickly, started to dominate the AFL. 07 was a great year for him, and there's that famous game against Adelaide that he kicked 7 goals and won as the elimination final, and then he took his game to a new level. And I personally don't think we'll ever see 100 goals again.
I was just about to ask, do you think we'll ever see it again?
And and like, that was amazing. And like, I look back in retrospect, and we could have had 2 players kick 100 on the same night.
Well,
Fev was stuck on 99.
Of course, yeah.
Because we started to drop blokes back.
Did you put 10 players on him? Yes.
We dropped a few back. And our mindset at the time, like, we were a pretty ruthless footy club, and we didn't like taking our foot off the throat.
Yeah.
And he needed, I can't remember exactly what it was, but maybe 7 goals to kick 100.
Yeah.
And he quickly got to 6 and 99. So Clarko dropped Jared Ruffhead back in front of him. That was before the 666, so you could actually play with a loose man. And we were hell-bent on not letting Fev kick 100 because we, at the time, thought, well, hang on, it's Buddy's night. We don't want you to rain on his parade. It's his night. But now, like, as a footy lover, I look back on that night and go, wow. Like,
we may never experience that ever again. Yeah.
Like, let alone 2 players kicking 100 on the one night. Like, that would have been unbelievable. So poor Fev was stuck on 99. We've apologised to him since.
Have you? Okay. Yeah. So I was going to say you've spoken to Fevelinko since, and he's okay.
He's still not happy.
He's not happy?
More so with Clarko. I think he's pissed off with than us.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been so special, though. What was it like then going from Hawthorn to Gold Coast? Because you were there for the very first year, and it was just starting.
Yep.
Was there a lot of excitement and buzz around the club, getting all these new players from all these different teams, people that had never played AFL before, going to Gold Coast, and you would have been one of the senior players going there, flag, people looking up to you? What was that like?
Yeah, like, it was it was exciting. Like all the way through 2010, I knew I was going to the Gold Coast.
And when was the first year? Sorry, 2012.
2011 was
2000.
the Suns' first year.
Okay.
So I played 2010 with the Hawks.
Yeah.
And then I knew at the end of that season I was going to become an inaugural Sun.
Yeah.
And like I was just reading in the papers like everyone else
Who's
they'd
playing?
signed. I didn't know. It was all kept pretty quiet. I didn't know that
Yeah.
you heard whispers that Gary Ablett might, Then
Yeah.
I heard that he actually tried to do a backflip and get out of it. He changed his
did he?
mind.
Yeah, okay.
Michael Riscatelli, Nathan Bock, Jared Brennan, Jared Harbrow. Like, so I was, but it's exciting when you get up to a new club and there's everything's quite new.
Yeah.
New stadium, first game, first win, like all those things were exciting. But it like I was fully aware that footy as I knew it
Wasn't
at
going
the
to be the
Hawks,
same.
going to the G on an Easter Monday against Geelong, 100,000, big supporter bases, a lot of external pressure from the media and whatnot, a senior side that was really well coached and good leaders, and then you go up there and it's a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have, I think we rocked up our first,
With 2 on the bench or something. 3
well,
on the
our
bench.
first family day. So
Yeah.
we'd have family day at Glenferrie Oval and there'd be 10,000 people and lines a million miles long for
To
Buddy's
sign
autograph.
autographs and,
We had our first family day at Movie World, and we all sat around in like a square
wearing
to
your
do a
Gold Coast
signing
outfits
session.
and
Polos.
Yeah.
One person rocked up.
One.
Yeah,
Oh
one.
my
I've got
God.
a great photo on Twitter of just this one person. Like, no lines. No
to
one
meet
knew,
all the players.
no one knew who Gary Ablett was.
Wow.
And it was just different.
Yeah.
Like footy was still AFL, but it didn't feel like it was as important.
Yeah, it was put on the side, especially up in Queensland where Queensland and New South Wales is rugby. Like I remember it was 2022, I was in Gold Coast for the grand final, AFL grand final, went to the Star in their sports bar, and the AFL was on the smallest TV. They had horses, dogs, rugby, NFL, basketball, and the AFL grand final was just on the smallest little screen.
You're off Broadway a
So,
bit.
yeah.
My 2 favourite footy moments happened while I was on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
We had our first ever win against Port Adelaide, and I was unfortunately out suspended at the time. And the very next week, we came down to Melbourne to play Essendon at Marvel Stadium. And like we went into that game with a bit of confidence, that we'd had a good win and we might be able to be competitive, if not beat Essendon.
Yeah.
And some of you might remember
Not
this
150
scoreline.
points or something, was it?
At quarter time, 15-3, 93 to 1 behind.
Oh, no.
So we're down by 92
15
points
goals.
at quarter time. We're going to lose by like 140 points in the most disgraceful display of footy of all time. And after the game, we go into the coaches, coaches area. And usually after a game of footy, you have sort of 40, 50 minutes of your own time. So you drink your protein, you ice your injuries, you get a massage, you talk to the physio, whatever.
Yeah.
Guy McKenna was our coach. He ushered us straight into the coaches' room. And not happy with the performance and lack of structure and lack of effort and lack of leadership. And I'm sitting in the back corner. And halfway through his coach's post-game address, there's a knock on the door, right? And like dead silent. I just remember sitting there thinking, who has the audacity to interrupt a coach's post-game address ever? But in particular, after such an embarrassing loss, another knock. And Guy McKenna goes, someone open the bloody door.
President?
Standing in the doorway are 3 ASADA drug testers with the clipboards. And he goes, what do you want? And they said, oh, we're sorry to interrupt, Guy, but we need to test these players for performance-enhancing drugs. And he goes, have you been at the fucking game? Have you looked at the scoreboard? We've just lost by 140 points. Do you think anyone in here is on performance-enhancing drugs? And he slammed the door in their face. And and in hindsight, they should have gone across to the Essendon change room. So that was a very funny moment. Yeah.
Wow. And that just, we don't see scorelines that ever anymore. That just wouldn't happen.
No, uncompetitive. So it was difficult because like I'd come from an environment where
Relentless.
like, high training standards, professional, relentless, well structured and organised on field with senior players, big bodies, up to a club that was, we were playing most weeks with 17 or 18-year-olds that had played a handful of games. So while we might be competitive for a quarter or two, the floodgates had opened and we ended up losing by 100 points. And there was just a lot of like development, and because the young boys were pulling up quite sore from travel and footy, we couldn't train much during the week. So it just compounds and compounds.
Yeah.
Then you get a few injuries, so your depth gets tested. There's players playing AFL footy that probably shouldn't be there for a couple of years. So it was hard for Bluey and the senior players to sort of juggle everything. But it took them. They made some mistakes. I made some mistakes up there. They seem like they're on track now. You know, the player retention's really important.
Yeah,
because they've kept the core group of King and Rowell and Miller and those guys together.
Yeah,
they've built around them, and now they're going to be successful.
And I feel like the Gold Coast is slowly becoming a destination where people, usually when they get drafted, if they're a bit young, they don't want to leave Victoria. They want to stay with their family. They would love to play for their local team, the team that they barracked for growing up. But I really feel like because of the lifestyle and the weather, just everything that the Gold Coast has to offer, and especially a good group of core players now, that it looks like people will want to go there.
Definitely. I mean, why wouldn't you want to go up there? Like the club's actually going well now. The lifestyle's amazing. And like they're more relevant now than they were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So while they're still off Broadway, like they're never going to be Eston, Collingwood, Geelong, like not going to get 100,000 there. It's a pretty, you're not under the intense microscope up there as you might be down here. And it can be hard for some guys like Dustin Martin, and that's why Buddy ended up going to Sydney just to get away. That's why Gary Ablett went up to the Goldie. My favourite footy story involves Gary Ablett.
Yes. Well, I was going to ask, is he the best player you've ever... He is,
I think so.
Yeah.
What he did on the Gold Coast, so he was a great player at Geelong. He came up to the Gold Coast and no one...
He just brought everybody else up.
Yeah, and his performance went to another level. Like, I think if you look at every player that went to the Gold Coast, none of the senior guys outperformed what they'd done previously. You know? Maybe Jared Harbrow over some longevity, but most of the other guys, didn't go to another level.
Yeah.
He did. Won the first 4 BNFs, won a Brownlow, like just freakish.
Wow.
And did it without a lot of support because, and getting tagged every week. But Richmond supporters will love this story because it was the famous game where Carmichael Hunt took that mark after the siren up at Kazali Stadium in Cairns, went back and kicked that great goal. We won the game. And straight after the game, all the Junos were sort of asking Bluey McKenna in the press conference, were you confident that it was Carmichael Hunt kicking for the match? And does this vindicate the AFL and the Suns' decision to poach him from the NRL? Is he now a bona fide AFL footballer? All these questions about Carmichael. And Bluey sort of said, look, great for Kay, outstanding for the boys that they won the game. He said, but I'll tell you the one thing that caught my eye. If you go back to the vision, when Carmichael Hunt is at the top of his mark, about to have the biggest kick of his career, our captain, Gary Ablett Jr., with everything going on around him, had the presence of mind to run 100 metres from the far wing all the way across to Carmichael to have a chat to him, to fill him with the confidence that he needed to go back and execute the kick. He goes, now, I haven't spoke to Gaz. I don't know exactly what he said to him, but I would imagine it's something along the lines of, pick something out behind the goals, don't stab at it, make sure you follow through. Like that, to me, defines true leadership, right?
Yeah.
And I was on the bus going from Kazali Stadium to the airport to fly back, and Gaz came and sat next to me. And I'd been reading these comments that Bluey had made on the AFL website, and I turned to Gaz. I said, Gaz, what did you say to Carmichael when he was at the top of his mark, about to have the biggest kick of his career? What did you say to him that filled him with the confidence to go back and kick it? And he looked at me, he smiled, and he said, oh, Brownie, I was trying to convince him to go down with cramps so I could take the kick. One of the great stories.
That is awesome. I thought he'd be saying something like, don't you dare fucking miss this or else you won't get picked next week or something.
Yeah, I know. So, no, that was good times. But I learned a lot on the Gold Coast. My footy was actually quite good, but it got lost in the fact that I kept getting rubbed out. There was a couple of off-field incidents that I was involved in and we were losing. So I think a lot of people were like, oh, that my move up there was probably didn't work, but certainly in terms of like leadership day to day, like I train hard, professionalism, and what I did on the field, I can look at myself in the mirror and go, they got everything out of me, and I played okay, but I just probably could have done without a couple of the off-field indiscretions.
But like, you can't live life with regrets, and you obviously don't have any regrets, and it's always moving forward. And you can't live your life in the past. It's all of part of your character. It's who you are, and it's your personality.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So now look back at my footy career and like unbelievably content with like everything I achieved.
You couldn't have given any more. You had nothing left to give.
Nothing left.
Yeah.
And I think as any sports person, if in your heart of hearts you know that in retirement, you can certainly leave
with your head
the
high.
sport with the head held high and content. And like some players aren't content because they never got the ultimate. Some players aren't content because they knew that they weren't professional enough. They partied too hard, whatever it may be. I was able to. Like, I never thought, if you'd have said to me, and I say this to a lot of players when they sort of are looking to finish up or they're upset because they've been delisted or the coach has not offer them another deal. If you'd have said to me at 18 years of age, before I'd got drafted, right, and all I wanted to do was get drafted, Campbell, the end of your career, you're going to play 205 games, play for Victoria, be an All-Australian, win a flag, play 4 games for Australia in the international rules. Like, would you take that? I'd laugh and go, oh, mate, would I what? Like, that's not going to happen. Absolutely, I'd take it.
Yeah.
So why then at the end, when you get to the end, however that may be, do players get upset that, they're getting retired, or they're not going out on their terms or whatever, if they've been able to achieve all those things. So, it's been fun. And the people you meet along the way as well.
Exactly. So it just sounds like you're really grateful and you're just very appreciative of your whole journey.
Absolutely. Because like everything I've been able to do post
is because of
footy,
exactly.
And the people I've met, like I wouldn't have met your old man if it wasn't for footy, because I remember meeting him on the footy show. I might have met him beforehand, but the first time we ever sort of properly met was I was doing the Thursday night footy show with Sam Newman and Gary Lyon and that crew in 07.
Oh, so when you were still playing,
he was a panellist.
So you came on as one of the players, and he was
correct, and he was on as well, and we sat next to each other. So you have dinner beforehand for an hour or two, you do the show for a couple of hours, and then afterwards, you sit around and you talk shit for another hour, and that's my most vivid first memory of meeting Shane. And then from then, we got on great, and we liked a good time, we liked a punt, all these other things, but he just wanted to talk footy.
Yeah.
Saints, how are they going to go?
Yeah.
And from there, end up meeting you guys, Brooke and Summer and all the crew that you meet through him. So that's probably my first memory.
Oh, that's awesome, Dog. Well, before we talk about Dad, I'd love to talk about your second love, punting and horses. Have you always been into the horses and always been into punting? Because did you grow up on a farm in Perth?
Nah, I didn't. No, just I'm a city slicker through and through.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
So where did the love for horses come from?
I grew up on the very mean streets of Peppermint Grove, which would be like the equivalent of South Yarra or Toorak here, mate. So, silver spoon, private school boy. But, my old man always owned horses. He owned trotters and thoroughbreds.
Is trotters horse and carriage?
Yeah. And so like early days, he was always form guide, races on. He'd pick a number.
Yeah.
And then when I got to Melbourne, like I used to go to the races every now and then, and I went to the Caulfield Cup when maybe 97 when Might and Power won, and like I just loved Sunline, who was a New Zealand horse, and then there was Might and Power. I just loved these horses. And then I got to Hawthorn, and Shane Crawford was into the horses, and he knew John O'Neill and some prominent owners really well. Johnny O'Neill had just won a Caulfield Cup with Mummifier. So naturally, Crawford and those guys, hey, we're buying a horse.
Do you want to get
involved? You got a little bit more disposable income. So you're like, yep, okay. And sort of get in one, you have a good experience with some friends, wins a race or two, you get in another.
Yeah.
And that's probably where it came from. It's
Yeah.
quite a social event too, which I
Yeah.
love. You can go there with friends. And
And the spring carnival's always just after the AFL season as well, that October, November.
correct.
Yep.
So, you and then I had a bit of luck with a horse called Sweet Idea, which we bought at the Magic Millions, and she went on to win a 3-year-old Magic Millions and a Group 1, and we sold it to the Queen of England, actually, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like another great experience with some great people.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of, I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would end up working in the racing industry.
Yeah.
That just evolved from a hobby, from my passion
Yeah.
for races, but I love it.
Yeah. Has there been anything since you've been like as just a fan and punting and loving horses? Has there been anything, and an owner of horses? Has there been anything you've learnt or found out since working with horses as well as commentating, broadcasting?
I've learned that it's bloody tough industry, like
Yeah.
in every aspect. Breeding side of it's really hard, like breeding a really good horse.
Yeah.
The ownership stuff is difficult because like how many horses
Yeah.
are out there, and it's hard. The punting side of it's pretty difficult, Jacko, as we know. Get plenty of tips.
Yeah.
Some run poorly, some win.
Yeah.
That's tough. But every aspect of it, I just thoroughly enjoy.
Have you ridden a horse?
I have. I got bucked off.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Whereabouts did you ride the horse?
There's some vision of me just at my property.
Yeah.
I was doing something for Channel 7 around rehoming retired racehorses. Because one of the big things is when they retire.
Yeah. They've still got a long life to live.
And where do they go?
Yeah. So what is the lifespan of a racing horse?
Well, you buy them as yearlings usually, which is a
1 year
1-year-old.
Yep.
But they start racing, 2, 3, or 4, depending how forward they are in their development.
And this might be a really dumb question, but is 1 year for a horse the same as us, or is it like dog? Okay.
No, it's the same.
Okay.
So they probably race for 3, 4 years. Like if they're still racing at 8 or 9, they've done remarkably well. But you might get sort of a 3, 4, and 5-year-old.
And that's their peak.
Yeah. Some never get to the races because they break down.
Injuries and.
But then they've got this whole, another 12, 13, 14, 15 years of their life. Where do they go? So we rehomed a few on my property.
Yeah.
And Channel 7 was sort of doing this thing about rehoming them and my love of horses. And they said to me, have you ever ridden one? And I was like, yeah, of course, right?
Yeah.
They said, well, do you want to take us down to your menage and show us? I went, yeah, no worries. And I'd been watching a fair bit of Yellowstone.
Oh, yep.
Right, Peter Dutton. Is his name Peter Dutton?
No, yeah. No, that's the politician.
That's the name.
John Dutton.
John Dutton.
Yeah, John Dutton.
and they said, "Are you going to saddle the horse up?" And I said,
Yeah.
"No, I'll be right. I'll just jump on its back and do bareback."
Oh, no.
And a jockey, Chris Simons, was holding it. So literally just walk it around the menage, mate. Get some vision, like
You'll
5
jump
seconds,
on
no problems.
Yeah.
And I had some tight pants on at the time. That's what I blame anyway.
Yeah.
And I've gone to like throw my leg over.
Oh, and you couldn't get all the way.
And I've landed so far on the back of the horse, like not
in the middle.
In the little middle
yeah.
bit. I landed on his back, and I was a little bit bigger at the time, I reckon, maybe 95 kilos. And because where I've landed, he must have had a sore back or something.
Yeah.
He's just taken off, started bucking. I've just hit the deck so hard, mate.
Oh, no.
Like so sore. I bounced straight back to my feet and started laughing.
Full of adrenaline, tried to play it off.
There's vision of it.
Yeah.
And I tried to play it off, but fuck, I was sore, and I haven't ridden a horse again.
Wow. Do you think you ever will?
Under the right circumstances, with a saddle, with a nice, calm, quiet horse.
Yeah.
But not ride. Like I go on a romantic sunset beach walk, in Bali or something. That'd be about my extent of riding.
That is so good. And what do you have one most memorable moment of being at the races when you've had a horse that's won? I know you said won a Magic Millions, but do you have one standout moment or memory of any of your horses or at the races?
I think winning the 3-year-old Magic Millions was unbelievable because she got beaten as a 2-year-old, right? Like by not far. And we came back the next year to try and win the 3-year-old, the Magic Millions that's currently on this week.
And was the same horse that beat it in that race?
No, it wasn't in the race.
Okay.
And like Dave Waterhouse trained her, and she was very confident that we would win. Had a sizable bet, which was always nice, and she jumped and led, kicked away, and won.
Yeah.
And I was there, like it was my last sort of act on the Gold Coast because I was still living up there, but we're about to put the house on the market, sell, and move back to Melbourne to live and try and get a job. And so that was like my last hurrah.
Yeah.
So I'd invited friends up from Melbourne. The Gold Coast Suns boys were there. My cousin was
Family
over
and
from
friends.
Perth. Like there's like 20 of us rolling.
Yeah.
And I've got the favourite in one of the main races.
Yeah.
And she wins.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool to be on track. And it didn't end that well because we went out for dinner and went to a nightclub. I ended up getting arrested.
Oh no!
So
I mean, that's like yin and yang. You've just had the best experience of your life, and then you've just gotten also the worst.
Then it was a shocker.
Yeah.
Which wasn't ideal. In fact, it was quite funny because I ended up in the lockup, and hand on heart, like no one believes me when I say this, but I did nothing wrong. Right?
Yeah.
I promise you, I was cleared of everything, no wrongdoing on my part, but people sort of laugh and go, "Yes, of course, you did nothing wrong." I put my credit card behind the bar at East nightclub, right?
No.
And I had 2 booths, and bottles are coming and
Put it on the tab.
put on the tab, no worries. And that was completely fine because we had a great day.
Mm.
But then when I got arrested and taken to the police station, I was no longer there, but my credit card was still behind the bar. And it was like midnight.
Oh, no.
So the club was still open for another 3 hours. And I'm thinking, I'll be fucked if I'm spending 1 more cent at this club if I'm not there. So eventually, not straight away, but eventually I was like, oh, hang on, aren't you allowed to ask for
one phone call?
One phone call. You are. Like it's your legal right.
Yeah.
And most people call their lawyer.
Yeah.
I rang East Nightclub and cancelled my credit card to save a shitload of money.
Yeah.
So they did. They cancelled it and fixed up what was remaining. They couldn't spend any more. And I thought I'll deal with the lawyer the next day once the dust had settled a little bit.
Wow. What a story, dog. And did you have to spend the night there? Overnight?
Yep.
What was it like sleeping in? Was it the weirdest thing ever?
Yeah, it was a bit weird.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Didn't like it?
Nah, I don't want to spend another night in there, which I haven't. That was sort of, I was trying to think back. That's 2014. So it's been nearly 11 years since I've got in
any trouble like
well, that. Yeah, I haven't been arrested.
Yeah.
I've been in trouble since, but not arrested.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't get arrested again, dog. But going back to Dad, and the first time you met him, you were a player and he was on the panel and all he wanted to do was talk about the Saints.
Yeah, that's it. And like had such a great personality. Like and look, growing up as a kid, he was one of my heroes. Yeah. Like poster on the wall sort of stuff, right?
Really?
So yeah. And I listened to a lot of the 12th Man, and I love Billy Birmingham with a passion, and just talking about, like Victorians and like how he used to talk.
Yeah,
it's the greatest Victorian ever to be a Victorian. And so meeting him was great, and obviously a legend of sport. But then getting to know him as a bloke, even better bloke. And the fact then we became poker mates, which then sort of transitioned from not just poker mates, but like proper mates.
Yeah.
And when I finished footy, like and decided to do the English Channel, like the first person I thought of was the Shane Warne Foundation charity. And like New Year's Eve parties, and like we ended up going to over to Vegas, and that's where I met Tony G, and just a very infectious personality, very generous, and did an unbelievable job with the 3 kids, and just a great man. So I know that we miss him very, very dearly. No one more so than you. Yeah,
no, thank you, Browndog. So what was it like then training for the English Channel and doing it for the Shane Warne Foundation? Because you were training and swimming every morning at the baths, weren't you? Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Had you ever done anything like that in your life?
I'd done the Peter Pub and the Portsea Swim Classic. But
and how many Ks is that?
Like 1.2, right?
Yeah.
I did. So like the thing with me, probably people go like, why the hell do you want to swim in this channel, right? I finished footy and I hated running. Like running was always hard for me. I mentioned I'm asthmatic, and these young kids would just run faster, and I hated running. Had to do it for pre-season, but like by the time I finished footy, I never wanted to run again. Like that was
Yeah.
my mindset. And I found like swimming, you could stay fit and it's
Yeah.
quite therapeutic.
Yeah.
You get in the pool for half an hour, swim some laps. Like you've only really got your mind. And I was really enjoying doing a K, 2Ks, 3Ks. And there's part of me that's like quite goal orientated. I still had a great fitness base from my footy days. I didn't want to run, but I wanted to finish footy and transition into normal life.
Yeah.
But I needed a goal. I just felt
Yeah.
like if I had nothing to get up and work towards, I didn't have any work.
You'd be sleeping in, a little bit lazy.
Yeah, and you just fall into some bad
Yeah.
habits. You might go out and drink more than
Too
you
much.
would or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I found that I was like, okay, I'm going to do a swim. What's something that like I've always sort of thought about doing that's big, that'll give me a good goal, but like, but isn't to do with running and it's attainable. And,
Yeah.
and I thought about the English Channel and then I was like, oh, is it a bit too much? And I rang my a swimming coach, Shelley Taylor-Smith, who's a legend of marathon swimming, and I posed a question like, would I be able to do it? She said, yeah, you could if you're disciplined and, you know, put the effort in, the work rate and everything.
Yeah.
And I said, will you coach me? And she said, absolutely. So from that path, once she gave me the confidence that I could do it, then I was away, right? And I was training, and I think I did the bloody big swim down here in Frankston, which was 10 Ks,
Yeah.
which was the most I'd done.
And for context, how many Ks is the English Channel?
As the crow flies, from Dover to Calais, it's 32 Ks, but you do an S shape.
Yeah. And you're going against the current. You're doing it overnight.
Yeah, yep. And so it pushes you. So the current sort of pushes you. You don't go in a straight line.
Yep.
You do an S. So it's 40 plus.
Yep.
So you might do 42, you might do 50. Like it just depends on how far you get pushed. It's a big swim and it's cold, and that's why it's so challenging. And you can only do it for 3 months of the year. There's summer when the water gets hotter. So yeah, I was doing a lot of training in the pool and a lot of bay swimming as well, which is a bit different, and you get acclimatized to the cold. And the other big thing, which is quite funny, and no one knows this about marathon swimmers, they're all quite big, right?
Yeah.
And that's for a reason.
Keep warm, isn't it? Something.
Fat is more buoyant in the water.
Ah.
Muscle sinks. Fat
Yeah.
is buoyant. And to insulate your organs so you don't get hypothermia.
Yeah.
So these swimmers that are doing the New York swims and whatnot,
They've all got big bellies.
they need to be big, right? So my coach, Shelley Taylor-Smith, said to me,
Go get some Maccas.
you need to be 100 kilos. And I was like, what?
And that would have been the heaviest you've ever been.
I played at 85. My skin folds were always under 40.
Yeah.
I was a freak with what I put in my mouth. Like I didn't eat any shit food.
Wow.
To the point where sometimes the dietitian at the Hawks would say, mate, you actually
need to eat a
eat a
pizza
little
or
bit
something.
of stuff, because I kept getting colds and
Yeah.
we're in and out of the cold water and ice
Yeah.
baths, and you
Take
pick
too long to heat up. Hypothermia.
you pick up every sickness, right?
Yep.
So I go, I got to get to 100 kilos of fat. And I struggled to do that, right? So like I employed Billy Brownless as my dietitian, and he was great.
Yeah.
Just eat cock, just eat whatever you want. And I'm
Yeah.
drinking Guinness Stout at night because it's fatty, and
Yeah.
I got to like 98,
Yeah.
but I never got to 100
Wow. And that's the heaviest you've ever been.
ever.
Yep.
But in my head, it was like I'm doing
That's
it
part
for
of the job.
Yeah. In
Yep.
fact, in the last few years, when I've got a bit heavier, when I haven't been training,
One day.
and people go, geez, you've put on some weight, I say,
Swimming.
I'm thinking about doing the channel again. That's a good excuse. If anyone's fat out there, just fucking tell people you're
training for the
you're
English
training for
channel.
the and that'll shut them straight up. You know, you've got to be big. But
Yeah.
so I got big. I trained my ass off. John Van Wiss, who I did a lot of training with down here in the Bay, he done it.
Yep.
And his advice to me was one arm in front of the other. You'll get there eventually. It doesn't matter if it takes 15 hours or 20 hours.
Yeah.
Just keep going forward. And so, yeah, like the moment came where we went over to the UK, drove down to Dover, waited in Dover for the captain to call. Reg Bricknell was his name. He's like the Kevin Sheedy of
Of swimming.
crossings, you know, like he's the guru. we started the swim at Shakespeare Beach, which is like a little pebble beach. You're not allowed a wetsuit, so it's just budgie smugglers. You cover yourself in lanolin, that white stuff.
Yeah.
And off you go towards Calais. You can't swim too close to the boat because you're not allowed the waves. There's someone on the boat that checks.
He's judging you.
Yeah, like validity. And I had my captain who was driving it, my coach Shally, and some support crew that every 30 minutes they'd sort of stop.
Check if you're okay.
Yeah, and throw down a banana or
eat?
some food. And then I'd just start again, and we got 6 hours in, and I was sort of halfway. I was in the separation zone, which is about halfway. So maybe, let's say, I'd done 20-ish Ks. And it was as flat and as calm as it's ever been. And I'm thinking to myself,
let's just change route. And
all I've ever heard about is how difficult the English Channel is with this weather and everything. And this is a piece of piss. That's what I was thinking, right? I'll do this in 12 hours. Not hard at all, right?
Break a record.
And then the wind picked up. And when the wind picked up, it got choppier and choppier and choppier. And to be honest, all I'm thinking about is stopping every 30 minutes for my food and drink. And Johnny Van Wiss's advice, one arm in front of the other, you'll get there eventually. So the 9 hour and 25 minute mark, Reg Bricknell comes out of his little cave where he'd been driving, blows a whistle, which I thought was unusual because I hadn't seen him for 9 hours, right? And now he's blowing a whistle, and I stop and I look up, and I get a bit closer to the boat, and he says, "Campbell, we're abandoning the swim. Jump in." And I go, "Mate, I've come here to swim in this channel. I'm not jumping in the boat. I'll see you in France." And he sort of like wry smile came over his face, and he goes, "Oh, Campbell, you won't see me in France." And I go, "Why the fuck not?" And he goes, "Well, because you've been swimming in the same spot for the last 3 hours and 25 minutes. In fact, you're going backwards. So jump in the boat. Your swim's over." And mate, that is what happened. The current had picked up to such an extent that I'm swimming and I'm not going forward anymore.
Oh, no.
But I didn't know that.
I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry, dog.
And then I get in the boat and I say to my support crew, like, "Why didn't you tell me? Like, you could have told me at the 7 hour mark, the 8 hour mark, the 9 hour mark." They were like, "Oh, we knew that you wouldn't accept it." And like the conditions were only getting worse. Like we knew that we're going to have to abandon, but we just wanted to give you like every chance.
Wanted to give you a chance.
So we jumped in the boat. They wrapped me in that like hypothermia
the
silver
foil
thing.
Yep.
And and then I just basically slept all the way home. And that was my channel attempt.
Yeah.
Another 6 hours of good weather. I'm there. 7 boats went out that day. 7 boats got turned around and had to return. No one made it across.
Wow.
A big storm set in for a week. And it's one of the anomalies of you can't beat Mother Nature.
Yeah.
But we raised over 100,000 for sick and underprivileged children, and your old man supported the swim, and it was a great, even though I didn't succeed in what I wanted to achieve, it was a great experience.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, dog. And you gave it a go, and that's all you can do. So no one can knock you for trying. No one can knock you for effort.
Correct.
Because how many people can say they've even tried?
Yeah.
To swim the English
That's right.
Channel?
And I'd love to give it another go, but like at the moment I don't.
You're training for it, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. It's one of those things in life. Like if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to get back there and have another go. At the moment, with 3 kids and I need a shoulder replacement, there's a few little obstacles in the way, but you don't need to be. I'm 42 at the moment. You don't need to be young to do it.
People do it.
You
in
can do
their
it at 50,
60s
55. It's one of those things that it's a long way away at the moment. But I'd love to go back. No fanfare, no doing it for charities. Just do it for me.
You and yourself. Well, I've got complete faith you'll be able to smash it out, Browndog. But that's also why I think you're one of the toughest people in the world, is because of that as well. Also, your mindset on the footy field. But the third thing is mountaineering. I hope I'm saying that correctly, because you climb a lot of mountains.
Try to, yeah.
Well, you've climbed one of the 7 summits, or 2 of the 7 summits, haven't you?
We've done, we did Mount Kilimanjaro. A guy called Alex Johnson, who won a flag at the Sydney Swans. Yep. And myself, the year before COVID. Mount Kosciuszko here in Australia is one of the 7 summits, but it's pretty easy. Yep. And we went across to Mount Aconcagua in Argentina.
So 3.
We didn't summit that one.
Okay. Yep.
Again, weather, Mother Nature comes through, wipes everything out. Yep. We couldn't get from base camp 2 to base camp 3.
That was the one with Riley, wasn't it?
With Riley, Tony Woods. We got a bit. We tried to ascend too quickly, too rapidly, without rest days and everything, because we knew bad weather was coming, and we got quite violently altitude sickness, which wasn't ideal. But you and I have spoken about Mount Vincent as well. I know you were going to do that with Ant Middleton, which has been postponed. But, they're good challenges, like they're really good challenges. And for someone like me that needs goals, I find them great.
Is there any parallels between training and swimming the English Channel and then climbing and training these mountains?
They're a bit different. Like with mountaineering, climatizing is very important. So but you only need to walk.
Yeah.
And
so you're not necessarily out of breath or your heart rate's going up too high. It's actually just your ears and your nose and the breathing, the dizziness,
and
headaches.
The slower you go, the better. Right? You're just trying to control.
Yeah, because you'd like doing this with your feet, aren't you? You're not actually stepping.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, depending on how
the elevation,
the ice and the snow and whatnot. But they're just good challenges. Like everyone's different. Like some people's goals might just be to run a half marathon in Melbourne this year, and some people do the New York Marathon. There's a lot of things out there for people that, want to find them. And I don't know, I've always just wanted to live a big life so that at the end I can look back and be like, okay, well, this is pretty cool. Like I did this. I've got 3 young boys. Like I want them to know that anything is possible.
Yep.
If you have a crack at it and if you want to try and achieve something. And some people are just content never leaving their state, their suburb, Australia, working, 8 to 6 for the same job for 25 years and are content with that. Like that's never been me. I want to live a big life, have fun, do cool things, and then maybe when you get old, 70, 80, and you're riddled with arthritis and you're sitting on a deck chair, you can
some
look
good
back
stories.
And go, good story. And even if you don't achieve them, like the Channel and like Aconcagua, you're doing with great people.
Yeah.
You get to know them. You make lifelong friends. You travel, and at least you had a crack.
Yeah, and another thing as well, with all of this you're doing, so you have all those stories and everything to reflect on when you are, in your older age. It actually will have a domino and a roll-on effect to your kids because they'll look up to you as your hero. It's inspiring. And for you to be so active and healthy and adventurous at that age and still to do that, trust me, they might not be able to show it or say it now, but looking back with my dad, all of the things and how active and busy he was, I look at that as inspiring. So even though you're doing this for goals and you want to have an adventurous life, it is inspiring to your kids. So well done, Browndog.
No, thanks, mate. No, hopefully they can turn out as well-mannered as you, because at the moment they're not.
Thank you, Browndog. I'm sure you'll be able to pull their head in. But yes, with going back to Dad as well, do you remember the first ever poker night you had?
No, I don't. But I do know that the highlights of our week or month were coming over, and whether it was the footy or the cricket on, the loudspeaker pumping, Bruce Springsteen and whatever SK had on his Spotify, the stories, the banter, like it was, you don't know it at the time, but like upon reflection, it was the best 5-6 hours of the week or the month or whatever, and like he brought everyone together. I wouldn't really necessarily know Aaron Hamill or Dimmer or Bakes or those guys anywhere near as well as I did without those, the Finchy, Maxi, yourself, and so it was always good fun. So I don't remember one specific, but I remember a lot of them and the laughs we used to have and the bad beats I used to cop, pocket aces against pocket kings and pocket tens, and somehow I'd have the worst hand because a king and a 10 had come. I'd blow up and Bakes would be filming it and we'd be laughing, and like just brilliant memories.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, Dog. Was there somebody that when you went to a poker night or you were out with Dad at the footy or whatever it was, that when you got home or heard that was coming, you're just like, that's not actually happening? Because I know you mentioned Ed Sheeran before.
Well, the night you spoke about it on, was it Doss and Doss's podcast?
Yeah, or Tommy Sheridan's. It was one of them.
I was there that night when St
Oh, yeah,
Kilda
sorry, it was-
played Melbourne.
Yeah, the very start of 2021 it was after Michael Gudinski's.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I was in the box that night, and we jumped in Shane's car and absolutely flew along Beaconsfield Parade back home, and having
Blasting
a
Ed
few drinks.
Sheeran
And
in the
Nick Williams
car
was
and-
there, and
Yeah.
there was a good little crew bakes and a few of us, and then Ed Sheeran rolled in. I remember just standing in the corner, and I was listening to Ed talking about life. Nick Williams, who's won 6 Melbourne Cups with his old man Lloyd, and I love racing.
Yeah.
Your old man telling cricket life stories, and he was on my wall as a kid. And
Yeah.
I was sitting there just going like, what a great combination. Like
Yeah.
I love it, music and Ed Sheeran. I love racing. I love cricket and your dad. And I was just like in heaven.
Yeah.
So that was great. I was there that night. Brian Lowry just rolled in for poker. I was a bit flat the night he invited me to Coldplay. I was away, and that was the night he got on and
I played the
played
harmonica.
and I think, went backstage and met his great mate Chris Martin. But no, they were always entertaining because you never knew who was going to be rocking up.
Yeah, that's awesome, Browndog. Well, the last thing I'd love to end on, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but if you were the Mayor of Melbourne or the Premier of Victoria, what's the first thing you'd do?
Oh, it'd be pretty simple. I'd be strong on law and order because I think Victoria's out of control at the moment with the amount of crime, youth crime. There's no respect for authority anymore or fear of consequences because there are no consequences.
Yeah.
You get arrested for an offence, you're out on bail the next day, they're reoffending. We're even paying our taxpayer money to fly them up to Movie World and Gold Coast for holidays. Like, it's an absolute disgrace. So I reckon Dan Andrews put this state in a shocking position. Throw COVID on top of that, disgrace. We've now got Jacinta Allen, who's equally as bad, and things are out of control. Like, the debt's horrendous. God help you if you're a small business owner here in Victoria. Taxes are through the roof, and people aren't feeling safe with the amount of crime going on. So our ambulances are ramped and under-resourced. She took a lot of money from the firefighters and the CFA, and look what's just happened here with the tragic fires. And our police force are under the pump because they can't deal with the amount of offenders. So that'd be my first issue, strong on law and order. And if you're a repeat offender, you wouldn't be getting out under my government.
Well, you've got my endorsement and my vote, Browndog. So, mate, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Pleasure, Jacko.
Is there anything you want to end on or tell people you've got coming up?
No, I do a podcast too. So if we'll give that a little bit of a plug,
Of course.
Brownie's podcast with Jonathan Brown, which we have a lot of fun doing. So maybe if you didn't know that, we do it mainly during the footy season, and the great man Jonathan Brown's up on the Gold Coast living his best life. But we have a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun. So maybe tune into that as well as listen to Warren's Way.
And where are they able to listen to it?
On
Everything, Spotify, Apple.
Yeah, all that.
All
I
of
probably
it.
should know. Yeah, Apple and
That's all right.
Spotify, I assume. So
There you go. All right, well,
going
Dog,
beautifully.
thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and I hope you have a great 2026.
Thanks, Jacko.
No worries. Thank you, Browndog.